Hi, my name is Brandon, and I'm an alcoholic and addict in recovery. In the section that I read today from This Naked Mind by Annie Grace, she goes over all of the different physical aspects of the effects that alcohol has on the body. Most importantly, on the brain, the heart, and the liver. 3 of the body's organs that are the most impacted by heavy alcohol use. It's really important for anybody who's interested in recovery to have some sort of understanding of these impacts, because knowing what alcohol is doing to your body is a really key component in maintaining some kind of conscious motivation to not use it anymore. It's the same thing with any addiction. And one of the things that I did when I was about to quit smoking cigarettes, or about to try to quit smoking for the 25th or 26th time, was to really learn as much as I could about what it was doing to my body. I had a lot of information from the typical PSAs that had been put out, and the nasty pictures that I had seen in don't do drugs classes growing up, things like that, but really learning what was happening rather than being exposed to horror stories. That really helped a lot more. And so that's what Annie does here. She first talks about the brain, and I'll read from what she's written. She says, your cerebellum, limbic system, and cerebral cortex are most vulnerable to alcohol. Your cerebellum is responsible for motor coordination, memory, and emotional response. Your limbic system monitors your memories and emotions, and your cerebral cortex manages activity, including planning, social interaction, problem solving, and learning. It comes as no surprise that alcohol hinders motor coordination. After all, being tipsy or unable to walk a straight line is a classic indicator of alcohol use. But have you realized that alcohol robs you of your natural ability to manage your emotions? This is why alcohol causes unhappiness and irritability, and why some drinkers describe their binges as either crying jags or fits of rage. And if you're hearing this and thinking alcohol doesn't cause that in me, and you're a heavy drinker, you drink a lot, I would also ask, how early in your drinking career are you? Because I certainly always described myself as a happy drinker. I was a happy drunk. That's the way I described myself. I didn't get upset. I didn't get angry when I drank, except for very rare occasions. I didn't get upset, and I just like to be happy. But what I didn't realize was that as time progressed, my depression when I wasn't drinking was slowly increasing to the point where it got completely out of control and could be set off by even the smallest challenges in life. So it's not something that, if you are early in a career of heavy drinking and you don't feel any of the negative emotional effects, I hate to put it this way, but just wait, or trust that they are likely to happen if you continue down that road. It won't, and so on this subject, it won't surprise you that severe chronic depression and heavy drinking are closely linked. What is more terrifying is that over time, the artificial stimulation your brain receives from drinking makes you neurologically unable to experience the pleasure you once did from everyday activities, such as seeing a friend, reading a book, or even having sex. And this is why, at one point in my drinking career, drinking became my primary pastime, because all the other pastimes that I enjoyed, all the other things I enjoyed doing, stopped being fun. And just drinking and getting the stimulation I got from alcohol became the primary way that I could entertain myself. Finally, she talks a little bit about the liver, and she says, when breaking down alcohol, your liver releases toxins and damaged liver cells into the bloodstream. bloodstream. These toxins are more dangerous to the brain than alcohol itself. The toxins released into your brain are responsible for bad sleep, mood imbalance, personality changes like violence or weeping. That was mine. I was a weeper. Anxiety, depression, and shortened attention span, and they can result in coma or death. So she does point out that abstinence can help reverse the negative effects on thinking skills, memory, and attention, and over several months to a year, structural brain changes have been shown to self-correct. So recovery and a complete abstinence from alcohol is an effective way to address some of the damage that's been done after years of heavy drinking. But it's undeniable, and my experience definitely mirrored some of this. I got terrible sleep. I had, even though I would tell you that I got good sleep, I didn't. I was tired all the time. I could fall asleep at the drop of the hat in the middle of the day. And that's not the case now. I get good sleep now. So mood imbalance was a huge thing for me. In fact, after years of drinking, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And there's questions that my doctor and I have now about whether the mood imbalance that was being diagnosed was really just due to my excessive drinking and drug use and not really due to a bipolar disorder. Now, continuing on about the liver, she says 2 million Americans suffer from alcohol-related liver disease, making it a leading cause of illness and death. This number astounded me. Sometimes numbers this big are a little hard to comprehend. So to put it in perspective, 2 million Americans, if the population of America is about 329 million now, then 2 million Americans is 1 out of 165 people. So if you know 165 people and you aren't the one that is suffering from alcohol-related liver disease, chances are there's someone in that group who is. In a town of 25,000 people, that's where I grew up. I grew up in a town of about 25,000 people. That means 151 people in that town would be suffering from alcohol-related liver disease. That's not saying the number of people who have a heavy drinking problem. That's just the number of people who developed alcohol-related liver disease because of it. And in a town of 1 million people, like the town I live in now, that's 6,622 people. So if you think you're alone in being a heavy drinker who is a candidate for this kind of bodily situation, for this kind of disease, you aren't. There's people everywhere who have already developed these diseases because they have the same behaviors you do. So don't think you're alone, and don't think you can't recover, because there's a lot of people who have found recovery and who have moved away from a lifestyle which could potentially lead them down this road. The last thing that I'll read about this is about cirrhosis, which is the thing that a lot of people worry about with heavy drinking. Drinking also causes steatosis, or fatty liver. Fat buildup on your liver makes it harder for the liver to operate. Eventually, fibrosis, some scar tissue, becomes cirrhosis, much more scar tissue. Cirrhosis prevents the liver from performing critical functions, including managing infections, absorbing nutrients, and removing toxins from the blood. This can result in liver cancer and type 2 diabetes. 25% of heavy drinkers will develop cirrhosis. 25% of heavy drinkers will develop cirrhosis. Scary statistics, but important statistics to hear. Important information to hear and to consider for anybody who is interested in what alcohol and heavy alcohol use is really doing to their bodies. So I read this section because I think that educating yourself about what these drugs really do inside of your body really do to your brain is a key component in getting the conscious motivation that you need to move toward recovery. It was for me, and as soon as I started learning more about what was really happening inside my brain when I put these drugs in my body, the more I was interested in how life would be once I removed them. That's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow with more. Have a good one.